Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into another Creative Careers Week video. And again, thank you to LED Creatives for helping us put this all together. And today I am here with Emily. Hello, Emily.
Hello.
So would you like to just do a quick intro?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm founder of Virtually There Studio. I'm based in Stowmarket in Suffolk. I create exhibitions, experiences, and educational opportunities for young people in Suffolk and the surrounding areas to help with all things digital literacy and the environment.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. So I guess my first kind of question I'd like to know is how did you decide kind of what you wanted to do in the creative industry?
Oh, good question. When I was at uni, I was obsessed with printmaking and was just living in the print room. So I was quite an analog human, but I was a total technological geek as well. And I think it still exists. There was this Channel 5 program called The Gadget Show,
Oh, okay.
and they were testing out the Oculus DK1 headset, and I was like, oh wow, virtual reality sounds so cool. And so yeah, it was this Channel 5 program that was like, yeah, I want to play with that at least. I didn't expect, like, if you'd have said when I was watching that program, oh yeah, you're going to work with that and that's going to be your career, I would have just been like, nope. But it was good.
Awesome. Cool. That's quite cool that, yeah, it's not necessarily planned. Like uh, I started off doing drama and I never expected to be on stage singing and dancing, which was weird. So yeah, I guess that's a really good point about kind of you don't necessarily expect to be doing what you're going to do, which is quite cool, I think. So kind of what are some of the projects you've worked on kind of in your career so far?
Early on, when I first started playing with virtual reality, my first piece was to put a tree in. I had this idea to have like an actual physical greenhouse for my degree show. About 6 weeks before the deadline, I decided, yeah, I can build something in VR. Searches YouTube. How does VR work? Um, I managed to borrow some equipment from the uni and pretended I knew how to program. Uh, what is Python? I thought that was a snake. Oh no, it's not. It's a language. And just having that, I thought a tree that's kind of simple, and then quickly learned modeling a tree was like the most complicated form to create a 3D model. So that was like the first one to start playing with it, and then I got really interested in how it could help people because uh, I just chose a tree because I like trees. There wasn't any deep and meaningful reason, but when people were experiencing this tree, it was kind of like this universal symbol of like everyone could relate to it, remembered certain things, like forests. It was just one static tree. It was quite a lonely tree, and that just sort of made me think, oh wow, we're quite lucky in Suffolk. We have quite a lot of trees. How can this technology help people connect with trees? And it kind of all started from that one lonely tree.
Yeah, that's really cool how you can kind of take one idea and do so many different things with it. I mean, even on ideas like a tree, who would have thought? So yeah, I've also seen your kind of your virtual ecotherapy on your website, which looked really cool. Can you just tell me a bit more about that?
So after I studied fine art at uni, I got accepted as an intern at Suffolk County Council to be I had a really long title, business development and resource management and something something, which doesn't sound like a natural fit. And you're probably thinking, did you just listen to the question I asked? But as part of that, like we got some time to work on a project and meeting the other interns and chatting what it was about. That was where it kind of started. So I was talking with like people in European funding and stuff right as Brexit got the vote got cast, which was a very awkward time to be working in European funding. Um, so they really helped me think as a fine art graduate, what's the business case for this? How could this help people? But I also had an audience of office dwellers to test VR with. So I got to use one of the little kind of like breakout rooms. Looked a bit like a cupboard with cobwebs, but to set up some VR and sort of test it. And I had a really awesome line manager, Kevin Wegg, who helped me see this could be something to build up what are the some snazzy words like income streams and monetization and what funding is out there. So I got to shadow the arts development human Jane Knight and just sort of learn, okay, there's not going to be a job for someone developing VR in Suffolk who doesn't have like a specific degree or subject expertise. Why don't I just give it a go and make it happen and see how it goes?
Yeah, just do it and see how it goes, and that's all you can do really. And clearly, it works out well, which is really cool. So yeah, I just really liked that on your website. I thought it looked really cool. So I guess you may have already answered this in one of your previous kind of answers, but what's something you're most proud of in what you've done so far?
I guess like there's not any particular one thing, although it was like super cool to show some work at Somerset House. It was like, oh look, Nan, I'm showing in London, that's cool. But it's more like when just helping people in the day to day, like I teach quite a lot, and it's just that typical millennial want to help out people, and that warm fuzzy feels that you get is really nice. And especially when you get like former students get back in touch with you and be like, hey, that thing really mattered, or we get a parent say, oh, my son, daughter, non-binary identifying humans, that was really interesting. Or it's just, I really appreciate like the small things. Not that I'd turn down like the Turner Prize or any super snazzy award, snazzy things. I'm not necessarily about that, but I wouldn't necessarily say no. But it's the small things, helping people in the day to day.
No, yeah, definitely. I think that's really important. Just yeah, recognizing kind of the little small things you do instead of all the big things as well, which is cool. So, what's one of your biggest challenges been in what you've been doing, do you think?
It's I think now I'm a bit older is finding out what things you should say yes to and what things you should say no to, which I'm still not necessarily the greatest at, but it's acknowledging when you need to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help or saying this is bigger than me. Can we work together to find some help to do this, or just scheduling in some time to be like, oh, I need a rest, I need some well-being time, I need just an afternoon in the studio just to make things, break things, and try and put them back together again, and for no other reason than just own well-being. And although I have a super supportive partner and friends and family and network, I appreciate like there's not like a 9 to 5. You feel like you're on quite a lot of the time, and there's all sorts of weird and wonderful jobs that I've done that have involved all kinds of weird things, like taking an 8-foot tall roll of artificial grass on the underground. If that's not love, having your partner help you with that, then I don't know what is. So knowing when to take some time out, and I think a lot of artists think you have to be producing and making all the time, but having thinking time to reflect is important too.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with having that thinking time as well. And I don't think like there's ever a time where you can just sit down and go, right, I'm going to be creative now and I'm going to do that. I think, like you said, the idea of a tree, ideas can just come from looking at something and going, oh, what's that? And being curious, I feel really helps me to be inspired. Is just like, oh, what does that do? Or how do you do that? And I think that can be a really kind of key learning tool, is just having a play and doing something. And hey, if it works out, brilliant. If it doesn't, then go away and learn about it, or things like that. So yeah, I think you've brought up some really good points there. So I guess the kind of last thing is, do you have any advice for kind of young people who want to get into the creative industry, or more specifically into kind of what you do?
So I'd say like having a network is really important, and a lot of people are like, oh, how do I start that? And as like a socially awkward kind of person, I get it's really hard. But with lockdown, it's easier than ever to network via social media, LinkedIn, to find people that you admire, and then there's nothing wrong with reaching out to them in like a non-stalkerish way. Like, hey, I really like what you do. Build some connections with people, and I've been lucky to have some really awesome mentors and people support me just because they want to help like the next generation or help someone who to get where they are. Like there was this really awesome event um, by a lady called Catherine, whose surname evades me right now. who founded an organisation called Limina, who did this diversity event at the Digital Catapult in London. And a lot of the VR stuff I'd been to was kind of middle-aged white male humans. And I was like, is this for me? I've been asked, are you here to make the tea and that kind of stuff? And it's like, no, I want to learn and make. And so going to a room full of humans from around the country, different ages, backgrounds and stuff was amazing, because it's like, no, anyone can come into this sector and learn it and try it. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter who you are. So if you can find someone, reach out. Like, if mentors are really awesome for helping you, they keep you on your toes as well. Sometimes they can be like, oh, they're harassing me. They're not harassing you. They're trying to get the most out of you. So if you can find someone who can be like a mentor, or just give you some words of wisdom, because the arts community are a pretty nice bunch. They don't normally say no when you're asking for help.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. And I think it's good to have kind of people around you to support you, or if you've got a question that you can ask, or if you just need inspiration for an idea to kind of work in partnership with different people, I find really helps. And you can do some pretty cool stuff with people, because everyone has different skills. Some people might be good at kind of the tech stuff, other people might be better at kind of the more talking to people, or like you've got like the designing of things, marketing, and all different things like that. So yeah, I really agree with the idea of working with as many different people as you can, to help build your own skill set as well. So yeah, some good advice there. So yeah, thank you very much, Emily, for doing this interview, and everyone else watching. I hope you have a good rest of Creative Careers Week 2021.